Hello, my name is Lynn Tucker. I'm General Vice President for the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers assigned to the Eastern Territory. This film that you're about ready to see is about an issue that we've been working on for the last 7 years or so. It's an issue that not only has national security implications, but it also has a point where if these locks that you're about to see shut down, the whole country is going to come to a screeching halt. By viewing this film, I hope you'll see the importance of the Soo Locks and the need for an investment in the lock system, not only for national security, but also for as an economic point.
The first iteration of the U.S. Soo Locks was completed in May 1855 and operated by the state of Michigan until transferred to the U.S. Army in 1881. The U.S. locks form part of a 1.6-mile canal formerly named the St. Mary's Falls Canal. This canal is the only water connection between Lake Superior and the Great Lakes Water Navigation System. Here the lake level differs from Lake Superior to the lower lakes by 21 feet. The lock system makes passage possible by lowering or raising vessels to the level of the lake they are about to enter. The entire canal, including the locks, is owned and maintained by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Over the past 160 years, this waterway system has developed into the most efficient supply chain possible. Over 90% of the world's goods are shipped by water. It is easier and more efficient to float heavy cargoes than haul them over land by rail or truck. On 1 gallon of fuel per ton of cargo, a truck can travel 91 miles. A freight train goes 553 miles, and a Great Lakes ship will travel 631 miles. One fully loaded Great Lakes freighter moves the equivalent amount of cargo as 7 100-car unit trains or 2,800 trucks. A cargo of 1,000 tons transported by freighter produces 70% less carbon dioxide than by rail, and 90% less than transported by truck.
Shipping, by the nature that we can carry heavy goods and use relatively low horsepower ratios, is very efficient. But we don't sit still. We've repowered our ships. We're the first U.S. fleet to utilize exhaust gas scrubbers to reduce our sulfur. We're constantly looking at what can we do to lower our impact.
Today's leading cargo passing through the Soo Locks is 62% iron ore to produce steel and autos, 18% coal to produce electricity, 8% wheat for the food industry, 6% limestone to make roads, and 6% all other combined cargoes. Iron ore is the world's second most valuable mineral. In the U.S., 99% of the usable iron ore to produce steel comes from Michigan and Minnesota. National security is reliant on American-made steel. Iron ore generates nearly 652,000 direct and indirect jobs through mining, steel, and autos, and contributes $550.4 billion, or 3.2% of the U.S. gross domestic product annually.
The North American economy is still very much manufacturing based. To build most of anything in the United States or in Canada, you need steel. So what our members are doing are really building the foundation for the North American economy.
Low sulfur, cleaner burning coal from the Powder River Basin is 18% of the current cargo moving through the locks. DTE Energy is among the nation's top 3 North American marketers and transporters, moving more than 22 million tons of coal through the Soo Locks. DTE Energy also ranks as one of the largest producers of electricity in the nation, using coal delivered through the shipping industry as a primary source of fuel. The largest of ships are currently restricted to the Po Lock. These ships represent 70% of the cargo tonnage carried. Wait time is frequent and costly to all concerned. Failure of this lock would bring shipping to a standstill, and the economic impact and issues of national security would be felt nationwide. Given that the supply chains of the impacted industries are international, there could be global ramifications.
With a lack of redundancy, you literally have a single point of failure. That single point of failure of the North American manufacturing economy is lock number 2, the Po in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan.
There's studies that are being done that said if we have a shutdown of the locks, it would be a nationally felt impact. What you'd have is a cascading set of events in which if we can't get the raw materials to the steel mill won't be able to make steel. They won't be able to supply the autos and the other industries downstream, and then we have a serious issue with the whole supply chain for all of manufacturing.
In 1986, and again in 2007, Congress authorized construction of a second large-sized lock. However, work has not yet begun due to a flawed study showing decreased benefit-to-cost ratios, which the industry agrees is inaccurate.
It's flawed for several reasons. One, they assumed that if the PO shut down, all the cargo could be moved by rail at no additional cost. The Corps' own study shows that Great Lakes navigation saves the North American consumer $3.6 billion a year in transportation rate savings. So there's already a known differential between the rail rate and the vessel rate. In addition to the rate problem, there is no alternate mode of transportation. The rail lines don't exist.
60 million tons of iron ore moving through the locks. Trying to replace that and delivering that through a rail system that's already congested. What would be the backup plan? There is none. We need redundancy in the marine transportation mode.
Since opening in 1855, a new lock has been constructed about every 19 years. The Poe lock is currently 46 years old and has missed 2 replacement cycles. The smaller MacArthur lock has not been rebuilt since 1943. This delay in construction impacts the regional economy daily.
Since 2005, we've seen increased frequencies of unscheduled outages at the Soo Locks. Not just the MacArthur, but also the Poe. The MacArthur was just shut down for 20 days due to a failure. During that time, there was an hour when the Poe was also shut down due to a mechanical failure. So the first time, I think, in history, we've had both locks in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan shut down.
The Harbor Maintenance Trust Fund exists to dredge and maintain harbors. Its revenues come from fees attached to shipping, not taxpayer dollars. The Harbor Maintenance Trust Fund has in excess of $9 billion and is growing. $175 million is needed annually for dredging and maintenance. Logic would suggest that excess revenue should be targeted to improve the system.
In our industry, we expect the Soo Locks to operate every day. Someday it won't. Not unless we start building the replacement for the MacArthur now and have redundancy and eliminate the vulnerability caused by a single point of failure of the entire Great Lakes navigation system, which supplies the entire North American manufacturing logistics system.
The new lock will provide for future economic growth. By enhancing existing infrastructure and creating resilience, we will gain a safer, more efficient, and ecologically sound seaway cargo transportation system, benefiting the entire nation.
We need to invest in America. Why can't we look at this as a national priority to make sure that we're going to protect this, our waters and our waterways for generations and generations, not only for the beauty and natural resource, but also economically.